other world-class fighters at featherweight.
So let's take a look at the tail of the tape now for that man, Chris John of Indonesia, against Rocky Juarez of the United States. You see the 1-year age advantage for Juarez. John is an exceptionally tall featherweight at 5'7.5" with a 2.5-inch height advantage here. Half-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in under the 126-pound limit. Both have gone up about 8 or 10 pounds tonight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Chris John Rocky Juarez fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules that you see on your screen. Jim, real quick, the 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim!
Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Toyota Center, Houston, Texas, where tonight Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions is proud to present an evening of world-class professional prize fighting. It's HBO World Championship Boxing, sponsored by Tecate, Cerveza con Carácter, and Southwest Airlines, no hidden fees. All bouts sanctioned by Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. At ringside for this contest, the 3 judges scoring are Raul Caiz Sr., Tom Miller, and Gail Van Oy. And inside the ring, your referee in charge of the action, Lawrence Cole. And now, let's get this party started. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Featherweight Championship of the World. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red, green, and white, officially weighing in at 125.5 pounds. This Olympic silver medalist now has a professional record consisting of 28 victories, including 20 knockouts, with 4 defeats. The challenger from Houston, Texas, Ricardo Rocky fighting out of the red corner, wearing white with red, officially weighing in at 125.25 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one. 42 victories, including 22 knockouts, with 1 draw. From Semarang, Indonesia, the reigning, defending, undefeated WBA Featherweight Champion of the World, Chris the Dragon John!
Thank you, Gilberto. No. Thank you. Rocky, Chris! Come on. Come here, Rock. All right, gentlemen. I went over the instructions earlier in the dressing room. I want you to obey my commands. Protect yourselves all times. Understood? Touch them up. Best of luck to both of you.
In recent years, we've seen another fighter from the Pacific Rim, Manny Pacquiao, become a boxing superstar with a violent style. Can Chris John do the same with his technical boxing skills? Rocky Juarez gives John a seemingly perfect foil.
There are pronounced style contrasts in both of our fights this evening. Rocky Juarez is a boxer-puncher. At his best, he uses his boxing to set up his dangerous left hook. Chris John is a boxer who uses space and lateral movement to control the ring and limit the contact in the fight. And early on, John working behind his very active and good jab. It's a long jab. And Emmanuel, his favorite combination is the double jab right cross. It's really the footwork, the movement, and the smarts that make him an excellent fighter.
Well, I think all around upper body movement, in addition to the footwork, is making John a much more elusive target, whereas Rocky's coming in a real squat, set down, basic, stationary, straightforward position.
We mentioned that Juarez's losses are all to top fighters. 2 losses to Marco Antonio Barrera. The first one, highly controversial. He really didn't know how good Humberto Soto was when Soto got the best of him in Chicago in what was his very first loss. And then the 4th loss was against the very great Juan Manuel Marquez. So there are no flies on the record of 4 losses so far for Rocky Juarez, though, of course, he's fallen a little bit short so far of where he would have expected to be at this point in his pro career.
He seems to be very determined and very focused tonight, particularly fighting in front of his hometown and with the frustration of having lost in 3 World Championship fights. He'll probably fight the best fight of his career tonight.
Yeah, this is his 4th title shot. And, some point to his connection to one of the most influential and best connected managers in the sport, Shelley Finkel. There's also his Olympic background. And the fact that at his best, he's an entertaining fighter.
He's a little bit faster coming out of the gate this fight than he has been in many of his last fights where he came in very slow. But he seems to come out with a lot of intensity, a lot of focus, and aware of the fact that he's known for being a slow starter.
Is that because, Max, it's now or never?
Yeah, it may be. Juarez, for an aggressive fighter, has throughout his career, I think, tried to be too perfect, waiting until just the right moment to throw his hands. And I think he realizes now, maybe his last shot on a stage like this, he needs to let those hands go.
A problem for him early, though, has been the accuracy of John's punching. And there's a good right hand by Rocky.
But for the most part, Rocky's been able to close the gap and is cut off the distance on Chris John right now for the most part, and he's fighting very much at the distance that he would like to fight at.
Referee Dickie Cole is the most prominent of the referees we see here in Texas. Anytime you're doing a card here, you know you're going to see Dickie in at least one of the 2 main events. Lawrence Cole. Yeah, Lawrence Cole. He's the son of Dickie.
Pick up the pace a little bit from it, okay? I want you a little more closer. I want you closer to him this round, okay? Let's go behind the jab, okay? The jab is working good. Keep this guy backing up, okay? I don't want this guy coming forward, okay? Let's keep him backing up. But look, when you get close to him now, we got to dig the body, okay? You got to dig that body when you get close. But look, the jab is good, but you got to get busier, okay? I want
more feinting, in and out, keep him moving, manjo kiri, okay? Use the jab and the back step and the feint, okay? And move left. All right? We're getting in too close, okay? The jab, the feint, keep the distance, Chris, in and out.
Chris John spent much of his career fighting under the tutelage of the trainer with whom he first took up boxing. He had an acrimonious split with that man a few years ago and now trains in Perth, Australia under the trainer you heard in the corner, Craig Christian.
And I think Christian was telling him exactly what I felt, that the fight is a lot at a closer range than they would like to be. And as a result, at this stage, I say the fight is going more towards the plan of Juarez than it has been for John. He's closing up the gap on him, and Craig Christian is telling Chris John to try to create more space to move. He's letting him get too close.
You know, it's also a fight here in Houston. Juarez is the hometown favorite and hero, and not to mention a sentimental favorite here because he's this really good fighter who's never even been able to pick up one of these belts in this era of multiple belts. Chris John has to assume that close rounds will not go his way on the scorecards.
Can we take as a given, Emmanuel, that Rocky is the harder puncher?
Yes, I would think Rocky is definitely a harder puncher. And at this pattern, even though he may not be a hit on point, I think the fight is still moving more in the direction that he would like to have it move in.
It's going to be a tremendous disappointment to Chris John if he surrenders his title here. It's his first fight ever in the United States after 43 fights in Indonesia and Japan. And he says that he is taking the lowest paycheck of his title reign, which goes all the way back to 2003.
And he's probably fighting one of the most determined fighters that he's ever fought, too.
You know, Juarez so far is fighting an inspired fight, considering the quality of opponent and what's at stake here. Jim, you mentioned earlier, he started faster and seemingly more determined early in the fight than he has in the past.
Well, particularly in the first loss to Barrera, it was the slow start that really cost him. He dominated the second half of the fight. Had he fought the first 4 rounds the way he fought the last 8, clearly he would have won.
He's putting in those body shots early, putting that money in the bank early. Juarez is.
Not sure that Chris John has yet solved the space equation the way that Craig Christian wanted him to, Emmanuel.
I don't think so. Right now, I don't know who's winning the fight, but as I say, it's just the way that Juarez wanted it to be, though. But Juarez is going to have to keep this intensity up the entire fight, too.
Indonesia is a larger country than the Philippines, and Chris John, by all accounts,